Can you guys hear now? Check, check. Hey. Can you hear? Check, 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 check. Let me know if that sounds working now. You guys hear me? Check, 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 check. Okay, so it's working now. Great. Just have to make sure, I guess. So good. Say we have Nelu Fly, Rahan on Facebook. Esteban sees it. Okay, cool. We have 11 people. Yeah, I'm trying some new things with OBS. It's giving me some issues. I may have to switch headphones really quick. 1 sec. Check, check. Okay. Sounds better on this for me. Awesome. Okay, guys. So today we're going to be talking about 3D Coat. I don't know if any of you are very familiar with 3D Coat. And the reason why these aren't necessarily tutorials. These are more, I show you some cool things that I learned with it. We kind of explore the cool programs and fun things like that. So 3D Coat, I'm going to be teaching this in my course. It's a sculpting program. I really like it. And I just kind of want to show you guys some cool things. They just updated it. They have a really good retopologizing tool. So I wanted to show you that and a couple of other cool things with it. So if you're like me, I'm not a big sculptor, not very good at sculpting, and so I'm working on that. But yeah, I'm still not very good at sculpting, and so I've been turning to, at modeling. If I do polygon modeling, it's rough. I have a hard time. So sculpting in 3D Go has been my new go-to. It's been a lot better. So yeah, I've been definitely shifting that way. Let me pull up something really quick that I created. I don't know if any of you follow me on any social media stuff, but on my Instagram, which is VFX_Central, let me just show you that window now. Let's go there. So it's hard to see, but man, this thing's teeny. That's not a good angle. You have to check this out on my Instagram, but this spaceship thing that I made, I completely sculpted it in 3D Coat. Did some Houdini sims, some projection stuff, and on my Instagram, I post a lot of like little tests and things like that. So if you guys ever want to follow some of the work I post and things, go to VFX_Central. Yeah, so I did a lot of sculpting. I've been doing a lot more sculpting in 3D Coat. And here's an image from the course. Let me see if I can find the big version of that, because I think you guys would appreciate that. And this is also part of the course. I'm going to be teaching 3D Coat. So I figured I would show you guys some stuff right now. Let's see if I can, oh, here we go. Here we go. So yeah, this is going to be part of the course. You guys are getting kind of a preview of what's to come. And we shot something pretty cool. and we storyboard it. And then this isn't a still, this isn't animated, but I'm not going to show you till the course is released. Sculpted this environment 3D coat, did some projections, and this guy walks, the camera moves and everything. So that's part of the crash course. So that's just a little sneak peek. So anyway, 3D coat's awesome. I've been really enjoying it. So we're going to jump in and I'm going to show you some cool things that I've been learning. So let's just get this out of the way. All right, so this is 3D coat. And there's a couple different ways to start. I'm just going to show you the things that I've been learning and the things that have been helpful for me. I usually just like to start with the voxel sculpting, and you can start with different types of shapes. We're going to start with a square. So it'll come in like this. And so at first, voxels are not polygons, they're different. And it's just an easier way. And then after, we can retopologize this, and I'll show you a little bit of that as well. One second. Gotta make sure there we go. Now I can hear myself. So once you choose a shape, so they have these primitives, and you can choose all these different types of primitives, these different shapes, and you can do a lot of cool things with these. They have gears, they just have a million different things. So we'll start with the cube, and I always like to increase the resolution before. So you'll see right here 2 times. So now it's going to have more voxel density, so we can do more detailed stuff. I just like to start with 2 times, and then you hit enter. And now we have this voxel. So if I move this shape around, you can make another shape as well as different, and this would add it. So if I wanted a piece right here, just hit that. And now we have 2 pieces connected. And if we wanted to intersect an area, you just change this. And again, we're still in the primitives on this layer. You can go into here and you can do subtract. These are just some basic things that I learned when I first got it. Super quick, hit subtract. It's like the Boolean operation. And so this is just a great way of quickly, doing some hard surface modeling stuff. It's a lot quicker to do it in here. And I think it looks a lot better. So the other cool thing is you can just put on a default texture. So I'm just going to double click this and hit OK. Or that one's okay, or you can use this one. It kind of does that little roughen edges, which is fun to see. And then we also can change the object. So this is really cool. So when you're adding your first primitives in here, we can, let's do radius, you can change that. And I can essentially subtract with any object I have. So let me just move this out of the way. So now you're seeing it's like a Boolean operation. We're able to just cut in things, add things really quickly with different primitives. They have these screws. So let's just click on one of these really quick. And let's say you wanted to have a screw, like a perfect hole for this screw to fit in. You could do something like this, and I believe you can import objects as well. So we could have this right there. Okay, first I'm going to subtract it. So we'll hit enter. So now I made this hole. And if we wanted to add this object in as a separate object, we could do that. Just click right here. We have a new layer. I'm going to increase the resolution a little bit more. And this time I'm going to add and hit enter. So let me show you what that did. If we go to transform, and let me add a different texture onto this guy. So now we have this screw, and we have this nice little hole with rivets inside of it. So you can see where this is starting to come in handy. So really cool if you're ever doing some deconstruction stuff. And so that's a really helpful tool. And hello, Zacho Multimedia from Argentina. Nice to have you. Thanks for joining. we can go back to this layer. We can keep adding primitives, and we can do text and a whole bunch of other really, really cool things. They also have, let's see, greebles. So greebles, it's going to be in the same primitive object, but they're basically these little models that they've created for us. So we can turn the transform on. So these are pre-built. And I believe if we put this in here and hit add, you can do click to place. That's also a helpful one. Maybe it needs to be in subtract. Jess was testing this. Let's see. You try a different shape. Let's see if, yeah, that one worked. Interesting. Let me move this guy. To place, transforms, there we go. Okay, so this one worked. So really cool way to add details that would normally take a very long time. Oh, getting the wheel. There it goes. It's probably because I have like a million programs open. Don't know why that was on. Reset. You can reset this thing. Somehow that thing got all crazy. Try a different pipe. There we go. I could mess around with that one. So you can take these things like this, you know, and add them pretty quickly. These are just really great ways of adding this kind of detail very quickly. You also, I wanted to try one of these other greebles for you guys, because some of these, when you hit enter, should intersect with the object. And this one is doing the same problem we had with the other one. So we got to figure out what's going on with that. Maybe it's just the wrong object. What we're going to do, we're going to delete that object, and we're going to delete that. We're going to start from the beginning with another cube. Okay, we'll enter. Oh, I just realized. So if you ever add another object, let's see, let's make a new layer. There we go. We're going to increase the resolution before we add this guy in. Oh, it's probably because it's on that. There we go. All right. Let me turn that guy off, and then here's another greeble. If you guys are ever modeling, like, I don't know, spaceships or something cool like that, these are really cool. This one's oh, there we go. There we go. I don't know if it was because last time I was on the wrong layer, but okay. Okay, I think now that one worked. There we go. But we actually want this one to, what is it? Intersect. There we go. So, okay, see these kind of details. This is what I was trying to show you. I could have been on the wrong layer. So these are nice little things if you put them on subtract. They will add these really nice details within. And now it's not working. Apply. Okay, let's figure out why this one works and the other one doesn't. I don't know. And put this back to subtract. So the other ones are supposed to do that. This could just be a flaw in this version. So just beware of that. Let me reset. Very interesting. Okay, so just gonna go through these a little bit quicker. Another cool tool is the symmetry. So if you press S, obviously you can do like a symmetry mode. We're going to delete that layer, and we're going to delete that one. We're going to create a new one, and we're going to recreate a. Let's do a reset. There we go. I can turn my symmetry on, like so. First, we're just going to do the same thing, increase resolution, put it on add. So you could put some symmetry on and, you know, if you wanted to work that way, and add some things on like that. Enter again. And now I'm going to show you some of my favorite tools, besides all the cool sculpting tools that I really, really like in here. So specifically to hard surface modeling, this is just some helpful tools. But if you use your number pad on the right, and if you hit, I think 5, now you'll be in like the not perspective, but I think it's orthographic view. So nothing won't be distorted by your perspective. So if you hit 5, you can go in here, and we still have the symmetry tool on, which is helpful. And then if you hit E, we have these different types of basically shapes or brushes that you can use. So this would draw something like that we can use in here. Zunch No Multimedia wants to know if this is would be faster pipeline. It says, would you say 3D Coat can be faster modeling pipeline solution with C40 compared to ZBrush to C40? I feel like, from my experience, I don't know too much about ZBrush, but I've had very good success. Like this works very well with Cinema 4D. So that's why I suggest using 3D Coat with C4D. It just has been very good. But I'm sure ZBrush is too. I'm just, again, it's sometimes you just find the tool that works for you, and 3D Coat's been great. So let's, the cutoff tool. This is what I was going to show you guys. So the cutoff tool, you can do stuff like this. We have it on symmetry, so now it's going to cut off those edges nice and crisp. And you can change your views by pressing, like, you know, that's 7 top, the front. So we could start chopping off maybe like these sharp angles to be that. We've all seen some cool techie looking stuff where the angles are all chopped off like that. Maybe we want this to be an angle like so. And then if you, again, need a tool that's a little more specific to your needs, you can do something like that. But you can see how quickly we can start cutting out some of these shapes. Go to the top view, and if you wanted to get a little bit crazier, you could do some things like this. So if you wanted to cut in, shift, that, double click. Now we're cutting out these really cool angles. And let's see, let's go here. try to do like an angle like that. Double click. That'll finish it. There we go. Let's go to different angles. So we can go to the front, or we can go to this side. And we can just keep chopping away at this thing. I just find this tool super helpful for me. I'm not a modeler. I don't have patience to to mess around with polygons, and I'm also not, I guess, that talented to be able to do something like that. So anyway, you can create something like this pretty dang quick. And now I'm going to show you another one of my favorite tools in here. And again, I'll be covering a lot of this stuff in more detail on my course when that comes out, and it's coming along. So the other tool I really like to use is the, let's figure out which one. Voxel Height is a really cool one. So what this is going to do is you're going to select some voxels, it'll hide them, and then you can invert it and bring back some stuff. So what I mean by that is, let's show you. So if I said hide these voxels, but I wanted to bring back this like middle area, and maybe I had some a certain way I wanted these to come back, you just invert by holding your control button, and I can bring back these voxels that we were hiding before. Pretty cool. That's one of my favorites. The other tool that I really like is the split tool. This one's really cool, especially if you're doing like some faces or something. So to demonstrate that, let me see if I can just start a new project, and we're just gonna use this default head. Just throw a quick texture on this. I'm gonna delete all this stuff. I'm just gonna keep this guy like that. And I'm gonna increase his resolution and make sure we're on symmetry mode, so you can see the symmetry line playing right going through him. So let's say this guy is like a cyborg, and you'd sculpted this head and you wanted parts of it to look a little more robotic, and you wanted to pull out edges. You can do that with the split tool. And let's see, or you could do voxel extrude. There's different ways to do it, but the split tool, the reason why I like this is it's going to split this off into its own voxels. So let me just change the size. So for example, we wanted part of his head right here to just be like this plate. What this did is gave it a completely new, it just, oopsie. It's giving it its own voxel layer. Let me do that again because I hit edit undo. And now, so it made it right here. So now you can turn that on and off, and you can see got this cool head. And then what you can do is go into your transform tools, and you can move that around. So let's, I'm blind. Okay. So you could either shrink it like that and give it like a gold texture. There you go. So that's a pretty rad way of sculpting if you wanted hard surface. I'm specifically talking about hard surface because I feel like a lot of the times it's a little bit easier to do. I think organic stuff, you kind of naturally do that when you're playing in voxels. Things always turn out looking more organic, but hard surface things are just, it's a different type of challenge. So I could do the same thing right here. You know, you could just carve in at angles. Oops, make sure you clicked on the right layer there. Okay, so now he's got this weird eyebrow. We'll give it a different texture, and again, transform it. You know, you could move it, but there's just different things you can do with that. And then you can split it off that as well. So that's another really, really cool tool to be able to use. Now, obviously, we have all the standard tools that you would have in any real sculpting program. Let me hit E, go to a brush. you have these, you know, you can make bumps or whatever you'd like pretty quick. So yeah, you can just make all of these cool details, you know, just like any sculpting program. They have all these fun things, and they have different brushes. Oh, this one's not working. I think we need to use like an extrude or something. Yeah, so they have an extrude if you wanted a pattern. And if you know, you can change this by right clicking. That's your right clicking, you will make it bigger, or it'll give it the depth. So you can like, or if you hold control, it'll invert it. See, it turns blue. So now it's going to imprint that texture on wherever you paint. So you can go through and, you know, add your own little details in there, which is really cool. They got cracks, of course. They have these cool little symbol things. You wanted that on him. And you can make your own alphas, which is really cool. So you could create something in Photoshop that's like a pattern you liked, and you can just add it and use that to paint in some stuff. So yeah, it's really, you're pretty much only limited by your imagination, which is so fun with 3D Coat because there's a lot you can do in here. Now there's some more tools that I want to go over. I'm not going to go over everything, but I am going to show you some, we'll just quickly go over some fun things. Obviously smooth, that's exactly what you think it is. So if you mess up or you need to clean up an area, that's what that's going to do. We have, I've used the sphere tool, which is sweet. Just a quick way of making spheres and, you know, adding those in there. Scrape tool. This is a good one if you're doing, I would say, like rocks or something like that. So you can just, you'll see it look like we're smashing in this metal area. Be good for dents if you want to dent that. So we have those. We also have, let me show you. You have the move tool. This is a classic, you know, tool to use. And I believe if we start stretching out our polygons, we can do to global space, and it'll fix some of your, if you're getting some issues on your stretching. So let's look at, do you have any questions so far? Tutorial, if anyone's wondering, if you want to know more about 3D Coat, my course will be coming out, a VFX crash course, and I go over this stuff a lot more. But right now we're just kind of giving you just the fun things about this, so you guys can maybe go get a trial version. This isn't, 3D Coat's pretty cheap and it's really, really powerful. I still want to get into some other tools because I'm some that are really, really cool. And just deciding when. But first, okay, we'll do Voxel Extrude, and then we'll move on to some other cool tools. So Voxel Extrude is a great way of, like I said, extruding voxels. So you select an area. Okay, it's gonna make like a mask, and then you have the offset. So this is like how much it's gonna extrude it or invert it. So if I hit OK, now we get these nice hard edges. You know, like we could create these really cool patterns. It did turn it into a surface mode. It wasn't no longer voxel. But you could go back in here and add more of these guys, and then hit, maybe if we wanted this one to be a little bit bigger, like so. So this is a great way, again, mechanical stuff, fantastic tool to use. If you hit E, you can just do shapes like this. And these are like the crazy detail stuff that, you know, normally modeling this kind of detail would take a very, very long time. At least for me. Maybe some of you guys are amazing, but for me, it would take me a very long time. The other cool tool I like is the snake tool. And this is cool because you can add these cool, like it follows the surface, it drags through the surface, and you can just make these cool shapes. And you can choose, they have these different models that you can use. So we could do chains. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I was trying to model some chains like that, that would take me a very long time. So look at that. We're able to get these really detailed looking objects on this guy very, very quick. They have scales, they have teeth, but I'm going to go over some of those more a little bit later. They also have spikes. You can obviously choose a different type of model. Boolean self-intersecting. Let's make a new layer. We're not messing around with that. Other one. Increase resolution. And so you can see we can make spikes pretty quick. And and you can choose these different types of spikes, I guess, like more triangular. They have some of these other cool patterns. So something like this normally would take me a really long time to model. Yeah, he does look like Sub-Zero plus Scorpion plus Reptile. He's a new Mortal Kombat character. Yeah, it's pretty rad. I'm gonna go back into this guy. And you can turn this back into voxels. You just gotta click on the S and now it's back into voxel mode. Toothpaste, it's a little bit, it's similar to snakes, but it does it on a smaller level. So, you know, you can increase how much you want that now. And it also smooths the edges. See, whereas the snake kind of like has those hard edges. So that's really handy. And I think you can change. No, it does make that big of a difference. So yeah, you can add in a ton of things like that. If this would be good for veins. I would say if you wanted to make some veins, this would be a kind of a cool way to do it. So you could have these like little details. That. So that's super cool. I'm gonna hide that other layer. The muscle tool, this one, let's see if I can make a new layer. This one is like these flat little wavy things. Oops. Didn't even put on my new layer. Yeah, they're very interesting. I'm guessing because they're called muscles that you'd use them for some type of like organic muscly thing. But yeah, you could just add that in. Cool. Maybe give this, oops. Give him texture. Oh, I didn't even put that on the right layer. Okay, so that's that layer, which is cool. And now I want to show you another one of my favorite tools. Is the, let's see, guys. Oh, you know what? We're just gonna do this. This is what we're gonna do. Drag this. Come on now. They also have a cloth tool. This one's rad. So it starts off with this plane. Put that up there. And you can simulate a cloth. So I would just set this where I would want it. You could make the shape of it however you'd like. And then you hit start. And this is gonna fall. It's gonna interact with our objects. And then you can hit, let's see. So first it looks really bad, so you got to subdivide it. You also can, I believe you can make the thickness. There we go. Let me reset. There, reset. Reset the cloth. Oops. Looks like you can also choose a, why isn't it resetting? There we go. Oops, let me go back. Sorry about that, guys. Let me also increase the resolution of that. Thickness, it did not give me the thickness. Okay, let's try this again. I'm gonna see if we can get this to not intersect. Okay, we'll try this. Subdivide. Start. Sorry, it looks like I increased. I added more resolution and I turned up the thickness and the subdivisions, and now it's not intersecting like it was before, which is pretty sweet. Okay, let me just in the sim subdivide that guy. Now you can see you can do these cool cloth looking things, and once you're happy with it, because it's not finished yet, make sure you create a new layer, increase the resolution, because this is all previewed right now, so this thing's actually not in here. And when you're happy with it, hit enter. Just loading. Sorry guys, there it is. All right, it looks like it made the thickness after. So now we can add a texture on that. There we go. Now we got this, and you could do another sim if you wanted. You know, you can just do whatever you want. Scrape. So there's that weird blobby cloth thing. Welcome friends on YouTube. Okay, this is really cool. Did you try Marvelous with 3D Coat? I've never played with yes, I have played with Marvelous Designer. It's amazing, really cool tool. Unfortunately, I don't have it, but it's really, really good. I would say if you're gonna do any cloth sim, it's either Houdini. I mean, C40 is pretty good, but Houdini is amazing. And Marvelous Designer, man, that's like if you were going into any fashion industry to do clothing, I would say Marvelous Designer is the way to do it. But in here, just for sculpting, and let's say you just had like this big room and you need to put a bunch of like curtains or something like that, or you have a cloth over a table that you've modeled, great tool to use. So I highly suggest using that one. Okay, this layer doesn't have anything on it, so we're gonna use it. This is next one of my favorite tools of all time. 3D Coat is the curves tool, and this one I think you guys will really enjoy. Let's see, let's go new. Let's go clear all. There we go. All right, so this tool is like the snake tool. It's like the toothpaste tool, but it's a lot better. You have a lot more control. Basically, you can make these shapes, and you can click on each of them, and you can manipulate them and move them wherever you want. So I can move this thing any position I want, and you also need to make sure that it's not on symmetry snap. I've had an issue with this when I'm moving things around or creating polygons, like if I'm working at a weird angle, and it will want to snap to the middle. And I suggest turning off the symmetry snap off. But again, you can add these different pipes. So if you're building something, you can have these pipes or these, let's see, let's go back into here. They have this scaly dragon thing. They got the chains. They got the springs. And if you were to try to model this traditionally, I would just say good luck. because something like this would just take way too much time. So piping, this is a really cool, just a fantastic tool to be using. And again, this is still in preview mode, so we haven't solidified it. We haven't like locked it into the voxels yet. We're just playing around with it. So this is like a really cool thing. You can move these out away from him. You can scale them, rotate these. Like you can pretty much do whatever you want with this. If you want to rotate, just go up here, rotate, and now it's going to give you these cool little arrows, so you can start moving things around like that. So try using these tools to your advantage. This tool. And before I solidify it, I'm gonna just increase the resolution by, ooh, that's 8. That's gonna be a lot. That's okay. And then you just, and again, you can do subtract, intersect. If you want to do the same thing like we did at the very beginning with the primitives intersecting, you can do that. But this, I'm just gonna solidify it. So hit enter. May take a little bit longer because I increase the resolution. And then if you hit clear all, that's gonna hide that. So we can do something like that. There you go. So that's another fantastic little tool here in 3D Coat. Yeah, so it's amazing the kind of stuff you can just model, sculpt. Even if you're not like very good at modeling or anything like that, this tool is fantastic. The next thing I want to show you guys, I could go through all these and there's a lot, and I suggest you get the trial and you play with it. It's just really fun. I didn't even look at the fabric stuff. So, you know, you could, after you're done or you're happy with this, you could go through and you could start painting in some detail. Oops, wrong tool. You could start painting in some detail, some things like that. Once you're happy with your model, I would increase this resolution on this guy though. And you could just start painting in the little details and the fun things, you know, just giving a little more character. It's just, you can do whatever you want. Let me turn the symmetry off. Oh, I didn't even go into stencils yet. I'm gonna have to show you guys that. That'll be the next one. So yeah, you could just paint this guy up however you'd like. I'm just messing around because I wanted to show you guys all these different patterns. Turn that way down. Huge scrape on his head. That's still, see the depth is too much right there. They just barely. Even now he has his scrapes, and you could make this thing small, like maybe this thing's been getting like worn on the edges. Super quick, and you can just add all this fun detailing on your own. Okay, and now he has cracks in him. I'm holding control again to invert that, and if I make the depth of this a little bit deeper, well, I can do it like that. So yes, it is a PBR material. It's this still isn't a polygon, it's voxels, and so what it's doing is they have these default shaders that you can throw on really quick and just test out some different textures. If you export this, it won't have this texture on. It's just for previewing. Yes, if I have time, I'm gonna try to get this whole thing over into redshift. So we'll try to do that. All right, so oh yeah, the next tool I was going to show you. So let's go back to these head plates up here, and so I'm going to click on that layer. Let me go to side view. I totally forgot to show you guys these other cool tools. We'll use the extrude, and if you go to stencils, you have these different patterns that you can start stenciling in. And essentially what it's going to do is it's going to take this pattern and project it onto this. So I'm in the extrude mode, and I can move this pattern around right here, just grabbing this button. You can rotate it, you can scale it, you can skew it, you can do whatever you want. And it's doing it obviously from camera. Here's the opacity, so if we wanted to turn that up or down. So I'm going to have that really light right now. Then I choose my extrude tool, and I'm just going to use this polygon selection tool, and I'm going to just select this area and let go. Oh boy, wrong layer. Let's go back to this layer, the gold layer. And, oh, what is it doing? Come on now. Pull this guy out. For some reason, keeps locking onto that layer. There we go. I don't know what the deal was. So I'm going to invert this thing. Oh, come on. Like every time let's see. Let's try a different. I'm going to try this tool. I'm on the right layer. It's every time I click, it keeps putting me on this one. It could be, let's see. I'm gonna hide all these other layers and see if that'll help. For some reason, it's given me a little bit of an issue. That's right. There we go. Also make sure depth isn't too crazy. I'm gonna invert this guy. So there we go. So now I have this cool pattern that I just printed on. So we've turned this back on. Now he has this like honeycomb pattern inside his head. And look how quick that was to create. Pretty rad. So when you're done with Stencil, you just hit close. Now you can see we have this guy, that cool honeycomb pattern head, and he's looking pretty rad. All right, so yeah, you can use the Stencil tool and you can import your own textures. So again, if you had some specific needs and you had like a ground with some grunge that you created in Photoshop, you could bring that in and project that onto the floor or the wall, onto a certain part of a texture or whatever you want. Projecting your stenciling it is what you do right there. And you can paint the stencil in. So I gotta show you now. So if I was on, let's go to this. Yeah, let's pull this guy out. Okay. I'm gonna hide the other ones so this won't give us an issue. Let's go back to that stencil mode. Okay, so there's the pattern. And if we didn't want to use the selection area, you can just use a brush and paint it. But first we need to increase the resolution so you guys can actually see what's happening. So now look at that. I'm just painting in. It's going to be distorted from certain angles because essentially it's just doing it from the camera's perspective. So let me turn that off now. You can see that, and we'll bring everything back. So now you got some cool detail just on those layers. So it's a quick little tool. Let me delete that guy. All right, so now let me see if we have time to get this into project. Okay, all right. So now we need to, basically, there's two ways to do this to get this into Cinema 4D. The first way is you can just go straight up to export, and you can do export object scene, and it'll do all the objects. It's going to be super high poly, which is fine, but that works. So that's one way to do it, but it won't have any UV maps, so you're gonna have to pretty much texture it cubic. Or the other way we can do it is they have a new tool that will retopologize. And if I zoom in here and hit W, this is our wireframe. So that's how dense that polygon count is going to be, which is almost like unusable. Crazy. So they they have the old way of retopologizing, which is basically it's creating a bunch of like it's simplifying it, and then it bakes your sorry guys, let me think. It'll bake the normal map of all the detail onto the simpler polygon, if that makes any sense. So I'll show you 2 ways to do it. So the first way is I'm going to hide these other layers. So it's good to just use layer by layer so you can see what's happening. Actually, let's do the head because that's going to be a little more complicated. Yeah. Okay. So this head has a lot of detail and it'd be hard to normally just retopologize by itself. So you can clone this layer and decrease its detail. So I'm going to do that. So now we have a copy of it. I'm going to hide the old one. So here's this new one. It's going to be a little bit lower quality. And the next thing I want to do is I'm going to smooth this thing. I'm going to smooth it all out. You can keep clicking just to make this thing as simple as we can, because you want to have a very simple object when you're doing this. So you guys can see. So this is our original and this is our new lower resolution. And I'm going to keep simplifying this even more. Okay. So now it's a little bit smoother. It doesn't look as cool, but that's okay. So you're going to go to autopo, which is retopologizing. And this is the old way of doing it. And I'm going to leave the poly count at 10,000. We're just going to leave all these as default and just let it run through its process really quick. It's just going to take a second. Okay, so this tool, whoa. Somehow we got lost. All right, so this tool is asking where is your most detail that you want to conserve, okay? And I'm gonna just start painting, and so it'll try to keep your detail. I feel like it flipped my polygon like all the way upside down or something. How odd. Okay, so I tell it this dark area is where I want to keep a lot of detail. Now I'm gonna say, hey, I want you to try to make a simpler polygon out of this thing, and let's see if it works. This may take a little bit. And normally you can add strokes and basically paint seams, and that will help it also unwrap. Like you'd want to paint an area with like a line and say, open it from here. But I didn't do that because I wanted to see how it's going to run this process first. I may have a harder time with this particular model because there's a lot of detail we painted in here, and we did those chains. And normally I would have those chains like on a separate layer. If any of you have any questions, we can talk. Let me read through some of the comments. Have you tried Substance Painter? This is from Bara. If you do, it would be easier to work. So I actually use Painter with 3D Coat. So 3D Coat does have its own painting program, and it's amazing. But I actually take these objects and bring it into Substance. So this isn't a painting tool, but Substance is. So this is just for sculpting. All right, let's take a look at this polygon. So now look at the difference. Now we don't have like a trillion billion polygons, but we still have that high density of polygons right in here. There is a hole right there. And I know there's a way to fill holes, and I can't remember exactly how right now. Let's see. All right, so what I'm going to do is hide our sculpt underneath it. So this is our new polygon, and there is a way to fill the hole. I know there is. Okay, I'm just going to skip that for now, and just we're just going to move forward just for this lesson. Okay. Chris Crocker, how do you use displacement mask from ZBrush or C4D with Octane redshift? So this is 3D Coat. I said I don't know ZBrush, but I'm going to show you everything I know about in 3D Coat. So now that we have this low poly that we just created, we can go into, so here's our voxels that we created, and here's our new polygon. So here's the new polygon. And I'm going to turn off my low res one that we had. So let me just show you. So here's that low res that we used. And turn that one off and turn back on our high detail one, and then turn on our new polygons. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bake the normals, all that detail from the high poly onto this, or from the high voxel onto this low poly. So to do that, we're just going to go to bake with normal maps, and it's going to give you this crazy like shell. And it's going to say this is from this distance out here. I'm going to calculate, and then it also does one that's inside and scans that as well. So I'm just going to hit OK, and we're just going to run this process and see how it does. I'm going to turn the text resolution up to 4K. Really quick, Chris, ZBrush, I guarantee they have like you make a lower poly, and then you bake the high res sculpt onto the low poly. That's what you do it, so that way you can animate in your 3D applications. You can render it quicker, because if you were to render this high poly, and I know Octane has a hard time with like high poly stuff, it like freaks out. So this is definitely a quick way to do it, and we're gonna see if this worked. Again, I have my fingers crossed, because I did a lot of weird stuff on this that I wouldn't do. I'd usually break this up into different pieces. So once you model everything, or you sculpt everything, you do have to be careful that you're, putting everything back together. All right, looks like I finished the process. I'm gonna hide our sculpt, and you can see, let's go to the paint. All right, there it is, guys. This is now the low poly, but we are looking at it. Look at that. So this is, let me hit wireframe. So you can see all those. That is still our low poly, which is incredible. And we have that hole because I didn't fill that hole, which is my bad. But look at this. We still have all that detail that we painted in, but now we have this low poly that we can actually use to render. And that's pretty exciting, because normally it'd be really impossible to, I mean, not impossible, it just takes up a lot of CPU's power when you have like high poly stuff. So we simplified this big time. And this was me just doing this quickly. If we'd have marked seams, you could have gotten certain areas a little bit nicer. But if you compare the two, there's a voxel one. Let me turn the wireframe off. I mean, there's little shifts, and if I would have spent more time, we could have made it look even nicer. And so now, if you wanted to, in here, this is where you'd start painting. So you'd create a new layer, and you can see, oh, right here, this is our UV map that it created. So it broke this whole thing up, and it named it default. So you also want to make sure that you're in your UVs, you're naming this properly. So this is all the UV map, and you could have gone in here and cleaned up some of these UV maps. Let's see, I'm gonna rename this thing to Ed. I had this problem with renaming the UV maps the other day, and I don't know why it does this. Like, it won't rename them, which is so weird, but that's okay. So yeah, now you can just come in here and you can start painting away. Oops, let me go E. And the nice thing is you have these same hotkeys. So now this is just, up here is your normal map. So if you wanted to add more detail in onto your normal map, so this isn't sculpting, this is just messing with your normal map, okay? So you could just go back through and add more detail into your normal map. Or you can add some colors. So now you can see they're like white. Let me turn off the normal map. So now you can add like spray paint, splats. And it's nice to be able to paint in here too, because you're using the same tools as you were using for sculpting. Like, it just navigates the same. So yeah, you can start painting however you'd like in here. So now I want to take this model into redshift. So let's do that. Now all you have to do is go to File, Export Objects and Textures. And here's where we set all that fun stuff up. Output mesh. Let's call this. Let me go and create a new folder. And we'll call this head. And they have these different options. We're just going to do the Octane one because I found it works pretty well with the redshift one. Like the way it's set up. So I'm going to do TIFFs. And we have the metalness, we have the roughness, we have the color, which is the albedo, and the normal map, which is the one we need for all that detail. And you want to do the mid poly, and we'll just leave all that. And I'm just going to do this. We're just going to hit OK. We're going to export this thing and open Cinema 4D and see how it looks. We'll use redshift. We won't use Octane if you guys want. Even though that's what I prefer is redshift. Just gonna take a little bit. I said export a 4K texture, and it's not gonna export this. I don't think it's gonna export this current texture we have on here. Okay, let's open Cinema. Oops, sorry guys. Let's see, I'm going to check some of the other chats and see. Okay. Looks like we lost some people in the Facebook chat. Bummer. I don't know why it's not working. Check my restream. All right. Maybe I'm gonna quit 3D coat. Let's do this. Put this in the same folder. All right. So we can save some computational power. Okay. All right. Let's go up to merge. Go into live. All right, so here's the head right there. And turn the flip axis off, all that fun stuff. And there's our polygon. Now we got this thing into Cinema. It's looking good. And let's create a new material. Come on now, there we go. All right, so now we got to plug in all of those materials. And let's go into our graph. Let me find those textures really quick. Sorry guys, I was missing some I don't know what I think it's 10,000 polygons is what we have this one set to, which is a lot better than like 1 million or 2 million, which is what it would be if we would have just done the voxels. So that saves you quite a bit. All right, so I'm going to take these textures, just drag them in here. So now we have the roughness. We can plug this into our reflection roughness. There it goes. And let me see if I can turn that. And let's see the normal map. Here we go. We do need a normal. Let's see. A bump. Bump map. Put this into the bump input. But there was a normal, but sometimes I get Octane and I get Octane and what's it called mixed up? Redshift. Okay, so this texture, we'll see if this works. Texture input. In a minute. Okay, let's see. Yeah, maybe we need to do it in here. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this path. There we go. That's what it was supposed to be. So I don't need that anymore. Okay, we have the metalness. We have the texture. Let's see. Put that into color diffuse. Let this load. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't thinking. There we go. All right, so we can start to see that it's starting to take form. Now let's just throw some light in here really quick. Okay, let's do a render view. Okay, it's starting to work. The IP armor. There we go. So now you can see we have that detail that we added, all that fun stuff, pretty quick. Let's add another light. And you could even add, you know, like the dirt texture and all that fun stuff right in there. Turn the intensity. Ooh, whoops. My bad. Now let's go 5. Let's put a temperature. Sometimes it's fun to have like, we gotta have an overhead light because, you know, that's what you always have to do. Just the way I like to light. I always love the overhead lights. This thing. Put it far away. Maybe I'll make that a little bit bluer. So yeah, this is like 10,000 polys, and like we did not have to do that much to make this. I mean, this is me doing this pretty quick, but yeah, there you go. And if we look at those poly, how many polys? Yeah, 10,000. That's not bad. I would have to fix that hole in his chin, obviously, and I would hope you guys spend a little bit more time than I did on this, but still pretty rad. Always like to throw an environment in there. Oops. And then we'll be finishing this thing up for you guys. Turn the volume contribution on. Same thing with that overhead light and that contribution on. Not bad for just doing this pretty quick. And again, you'd have to do each of those other objects separately as well, so that you could import, you know, all those other details in. But yeah, that's just what I want to show you guys today, was 3D Coat, how awesome it is, how fast it is. And if you guys have any more questions, we can answer a couple more questions if I can do that really quick. yeah. If you guys have any questions, thank you those who joined today. Really appreciate it. Let's just check and see if we have any questions. Let's see. Okay. Good, good, good. Just going through these questions. Yeah, we're just going to wrap this thing up. Cool. I guess we'll just, talk a little bit before we jump off. First, I should want to thank you guys too. Before we close off, I want to say thanks for supporting and sticking around. And I know I've been kind of off and on. It's been a little crazy. We're trying to finish up the course. I've been working on that every night. It's been a little insane, but it's been good. I'm excited to get it done. Yeah, we're almost at 9,000 subscribers on YouTube. Woo! Chris Crocker wants to know, can you pump it into the correct channel? I think I did put it in the right channel. I just did normal map that's into the bump input. I'm guessing you're saying into the displacement. I don't know if you can do that. I usually just do it into the bump. Let's just see if that changes anything, or if this whole thing will just crash now. Yeah, it doesn't really work in the displacement. So what you got to do is you got to make sure that this normal map is into the bump. Overall bump. There you go. Now I'll get it. Yeah, so sorry guys, distracted. Yeah, we're 9,000 subscribers here soon on YouTube, which is huge. And then our Facebook page, I think we're at like 3,500. So yeah, keep sharing these tutorials and stuff. Let me know if you guys have a specific thing you want to learn. I saw some of you were saying you want to learn some compositing. We're going to be getting to that. There's a lot of compositing. I don't really want to jump into the compositing side too much until after my course, because I think it'll answer a ton of questions. So the live streams are pretty much preparing you for the course and just some things we'll be doing. So yeah, the crash course is going to go over tons of compositing tips and tricks and fun things. So that'll be a good time. Is it possible to make Snowstorm and X Particles 4? Yes, it is, Robin. I have a live stream where I talk about X Particles, but maybe I'll do another. Hey, maybe next week if I have some time, we'll jump on and we'll do some just X Particles, not really rendering, but just more simulation stuff. We could do some simulation stuff if you guys want to talk about that. Compositing will come. We're going to do compositing in After Effects on the course, but currently I use Nuke, and so I will eventually, in the far future, be doing a lot more Nuke stuff on the live streams. But for the course, we're going to be doing After Effects, since a lot of you have that, and I'll be doing a lot of tips and tricks that I've learned over the years for After Effects. If any of you aren't following me on the Instagrams, please follow me there, VFX_Central. If you haven't been to our website, which I'm sure many of you have, go check it out. We have a new website up, which is pretty sweet. Oh, Zunder VFX says you need displacement. Oh boy, let me go back in here. That's probably why it didn't work, huh? Let's try it again. Displacement. Oops. That's probably why it didn't work, huh? Go displacement. Sorry guys, I have ADD, so texture. Oh, I think I would need to re-import this is on the normal map. Or do I just directly connect it? Let's see. Texture map. And unplug this off the bump to see if that did it. Sorry guys, getting distracted. I may need to actually fix this because I'm plugging that normal. I would have to re-import that texture. Let me just type, let me see this really quick. Texture. Sorry, we're doing a little bit of discovery right now, guys. And then we'll close it up. All right, so there's just the texture. I would go directly into here. Vector. Yeah, I think I'm having better success having this normal map directly into vector out. Oh, wait, that's what it's got to go into, huh? Turn this to vector. No? Yeah, that's, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I was having a little bit better success plugging this thing directly into the normal map. Or into the bump. Oh yeah, no, this isn't a height map. This is just a normal map. I didn't export a height map. Whoops. Yeah, that's okay. This wasn't a redshift thing. We can go into that a little bit later, but you can export all that fun stuff out. I don't remember what we were talking about. The course and oh yeah, the website. Yeah, some of you said, who said they used the thing? Let's see. Oh, Robin. Awesome. Thank you for using the flares. The flares are definitely the most popular. Yeah. So if you guys haven't seen, we now sell them individually. And you can preview them, and then, or you can buy the whole pack. I don't know if any of you know, but I also released the 4K dust. I kind of just did this one like, cool. We shot these on the Sony, and they're all different types of dust falling. It was for a project, and so I just figured I might as well release those. And if you're on the email list, you'll also get free, a free ember effect. So I made these ember effects as well. You can't see the preview very well, but they look pretty sweet. And Smoky Magic, this was another new one we released. So you can see all these little smoky effects. These are just really helpful, like you can use these for gunshots even. Or if you have a little magic video. I made these a while ago and I never put them up. And of course the explosions, you have all the explosions. 6K, 4K, 5K. So, yep. Got all those for you guys. Anyway, I think we're going to be ending it here now. But go over to, just going to give 3D Coat a plug. Go to 3D Coat. You can go get a free version, I believe. A trial version. Go play with it. So much fun. But even then, like, professional version is not that much. Amateur is not that much. So I suggest getting it. It's awesome. And I think it's very user friendly, which is so nice. So check out 3D Coat, check out some of the things they do. And then imagine taking these renders once you bring it to your render engine and then painting over in Photoshop. So you can create, a lot of people use this for concept art. And I know a lot of guys on Kit Bash, guys, I can't remember, I don't know which guy it was, but one of the guys that teaches at Learn Squared, he also uses 3D Coat. But yeah, amazing stuff. So all right guys, I'm thinking this is it. We're gonna just wrap it up right here. Oops, wrong window, my bad. Yeah, we're just gonna end this right here. So thanks everyone for tuning in and enjoying the stream. I hope you guys have a good day, and shoot me a message if you have any questions. Like this video, share it, you know, do all the fun stuff. And we will see you guys maybe next week. Maybe next week we'll jump on again and we'll do some more fun stuff. So thanks again, and we'll see you guys later.